Yeah,
would
no,
freak
that's
out
fine.
over that, with good reason. 50,000 is a lot.
Yeah.
People.
Not at all one
What does-
time,
what-
I mean.
yeah.
And, terrific. Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the City of Monona Transit Commission, Monday, June 12th, or sorry, Wednesday, June 12th. Obviously, Mark, you have the role. Before we get any further in the agenda, I would like it if Teresa Rademacher is here for the first time.
Hi,
Is
Teresa.
the new alder assigned to this committee, and I dare say she's pretty excited about that. And when she asked for some feedback about the committee and what it was working on, aside from obviously knowing a lot about what's going on with Madison Metro, she asked for a pre-meeting to sort of get caught up, and I said, just know that it's the best committee in the entire city. So you guys should know that. No, I'm serious.
We'll quote you on that one, Nancy.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. You guys are all terrific and you know it, and we wouldn't have gotten where we are right now if it weren't for all of you, and I'm grateful, and the city's grateful. So,
Is there any way we can turn the TV off?
Yeah.
It's like.
Let's do that.
There's no sense.
We don't need,
No.
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Oh.
You got it. You got just the one.
Finding that one usually pops.
well, we'll just ignore that if for some reason it pops back
Lovely.
on. So, with that, I see that there's nobody here to make appearances this evening. There's nobody on the screen to make appearances. So we'll move to unfinished business. Oh, well, yeah, let's.
I've had before the
Hmm?
marketings.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
I'm trying to think of the agenda. I can't get it to download on my.
Oh,
on my
That's right.
phone.
So, the unfinished business number 5A is an update on the Madison Metro contracts. Yeah,
I just gonna say, as you're aware of last time, there were between two lawyers, we're going back and forth. Identification clause was the big issue. Everything else was great and fine in the contract. with The attorneys, at that point, there were some things that, Madison Metro, not justly, we decided, okay, till the council approves it, we're just gonna stop working on your guys' stuff. That was, because there's a lot of back and forth going, and the city council met, was on the agenda twice. We talked about it, the clause and everything involved with it. And the second read passed 6-0, so I'm fine with it. And after that, the mayor was gone a little bit, so I finally got contract over to my, I believe, last week, so just kind of starting up again, so she was gonna get her signatures and some other people's signatures, so it's been taking a while to get that, so we're slowly getting back into it again with that, so it passed, like I said, 6-0 city council.
and at Madison's request and also at our request as part of that, we decided to start in March, correct?
Oh, yeah, I forgot that. So
March 25.
Okay.
So that gives us they could have pushed it, because as you all know from previous discussions, they needed at least 6 months. And we needed 6 months too, just in terms of our contractual obligations, so, they could have pushed it to December, but given where we were, they said, and given where they are, which is to say they still have their hands full, rolling out this new overall big regional plan, that they said that they would prefer March, and that worked best for us too, so.
I think they use it based on their analysis, usually the March start date's a hard, the December start date's a hard one.
Yeah,
With winter time, holidays, so they thought March was a better time for that.
yeah, so, yeah, 6-0, congratulations. So with that, we do have, as you know, we do have somebody from Metro here tonight. He's here tonight, and Nick, there were two things. Welcome, first of all.
Thank you.
And really, our primary focus at this point, beyond we know what the route's gonna be.
Mhm.
Although there's some wiggling there, I suppose, but, around the stops, the rest stops, if you will, I forget what they call them.
Layover points?
Layover points, thank you. I knew there was some piece of jargon I was missing there. But so, and we did iron out some of those, but beyond that, we're hoping to learn more. We've heard that Metro does great things because, of course, rolling out any new service is important for you guys to be successful. And we'd like to learn more about what you do and perhaps share a little bit about channels here in Monona that you might not be aware of. That might help, and then figure out how to leverage what you do and those channels and what we do to make sure that the rollout is obviously over the next 8-9 months is as strong as it could be. So,
Sure.
yeah,
Well, I guess the first thing is we're going to, and it's formality, but we have to take this to our Transportation Commission on July 31st to get
Okay.
everything finalized, and we would tell them that you approve this, and then they approve your approval for us to roll this out for this new system,
okay,
or for this new route. So that's the first point of it. We have a pretty decent marketing team here that if you had somebody, we'd be glad to meet if you had individuals that just to kind of discuss what we have, but just to start out, what we would make we'd make a schedule and a map. We would put that into our a schedule book that we have. When the route launches, it would be in all of our online data, which is basically where a lot of people get our information. But like we put things on our website, and that is monitored internally, so we can, or not monitored, it's done internally, so we can turn around things on our website very quickly. And then we have text and email alerts. We're heavy on social media. We do Facebook and Instagram, and we can do paid advertising into your channels. We do paid Facebook boosts. So I guess it's just kind of where you'd like us to focus, and then we can try to figure it out. We also have our, while I'm thinking of it, our ad program. We do that in-house, so that we have the sides of our buses that we could also utilize. We could put some ads together that would go on the side of the bus, and we could advertise it that way as well. And then there's of course flyers on buses. We could help design flyers and information that you could put out through your channels. Like we could give you social media images. We could give you these flyers. I think it would just be a matter of we could just sit down and you let us know what you'd like, and we can put it together and kind of work with you to get that out both through our channels and yours.
okay.
Is a question, is kind of
Sure.
the thrust, the impetus of those campaigns to just increase awareness of the new bus service, to instruct people as to how to ride the bus or where the route is, or is there some other kind of goal behind that initial launch campaign?
Well, it's to drive awareness. That's always the big thing. I mean, that's a big one. But if, like with Sun Prairie, we had a lot of information on just how to ride, so we could put pages together, or we could put web pages together that kind of lays that out. We're putting together a lot of how to ride information right now because we are launching BRT this August, or excuse me, this September, so August, September roughly. So we're putting a lot of those materials together, and we can also kind of combine those with how BRT would work, with Monona. If you're like traveling, if you take the Monona route into town, you could get on the BRT. We could just show how the Monona route interacts with the rest of Madison, that kind of thing. So it would be all of the above. But I think we would start out with putting a press release out talking about it, and we could get people on your end talking about it to the media, and then our group would talk about it, just how great this new service is into a neighboring community. So I think it would be all of it, but the initial part would be just here's this new service out there, but we can definitely create flyers, and you don't have to decide it all tonight or even in the next few weeks. You can just Mark, if you wanted to pass out my email to everybody, then we can feel free to just contact me directly and just let me know what you're thinking. We can just kind of put something together. And we can of course improve it along the way. I mean, we have a lot of time to work on it.
So, Mick, I think, that's all great. So, but as you might imagine, we're also in budget season
Mhm.
for 2025. And so, part of us putting together the marketing plan also relates to how much of it do you pay for and how much of it do we pay for?
Right.
And so do you guys have a budget for like a municipality when you want to, or how, you know?
Well, honestly, with these kind of things, we try to be very good about putting out a campaign like this, and we try very hard through the years to not spend really any money on these things. So that, like I said, the ads on the side of the bus, we would pay, that there's just a production cost for that, and because we are actually running the program itself, there is no space charge. So since it would be a message from us, we would handle that cost. For any sort of social media boost, we would handle that. Offhand, I'm not thinking of anything that we would actually charge you for. We would just work with you in
Okay.
putting these web pages together. Yeah, offhand, I can't think of anything that we would charge you for everything that I mentioned. That would just be something that we would cover.
Okay.
Nick, when do you, if the buses would start running in March, when do you start promoting buses?
Well, they start in March. I would say we would probably start right at the beginning of the year. We wouldn't want to start too early because we've actually run into this with BRT, and we've got the new smart card system, which would be a thing in itself to kind of describe to Monona riders too. But we wanted to get people on board with our smart card system and just say, here, this is coming. We don't want you to be surprised this summer. We almost launched that too early, and people are overly excited about it and have been asking us about it. And we just kind of learned that we don't want to launch things too early. So I would say we wouldn't want to launch before the holidays either, because people are going to forget about it. No one's going to want to think about it over the holidays. So I think after everyone comes back and gets settled, maybe early January is when we would start putting out a lot of messaging. But we would probably have those schedules put together earlier on, so we could give you those and you can pass those on. We would probably post them on our website and just have them there, but we wouldn't actively be saying, hey, new service starts, but we would have the information there so we could kind of slowly roll it out in the winter, but I don't think we'd really hit the message hard until January or so.
One point of clarification, the two, like, we're getting the new route coming through Monona,
Mhm.
but there's also the existing routes are going to be able to stop in Monona. And I just want
Yeah.
to make sure all of that is being rolled out in March.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't know if they were on two different timelines since the G and the L are already coming through the community, if that was starting earlier or something. But it sounds like they'll both be starting in March.
I would assume that's when they're starting. That's how I've heard it. I can double check on that, but that's what I believe is happening.
Got it.
And then, of course, there's a third element, Nick, which would be paratransit as well.
Mhm.
And so, and that may require its own discussion in terms of making sure that our seniors, as you may know, we have a lot of seniors in Monona. It's one of the oldest community in the area. And we have a great senior center that's frequented by not only Monona seniors, but seniors from all over the metro area, because it's such a great senior center. So we would want to make, and I know that there was, as I'm sure there has been in other communities, there's been some anxiety in our seniors around how paratransit's gonna work and how laborious the application process is, et cetera. So we would want to be able to work with the senior center and our director there to make sure that, and it may be a longer lag time, it may be, a different type of advertising, a different type of outreach to make sure that they're cared for.
Yeah, and we could, with Sun Prairie, we went out there and we'd be glad to come out to your senior center as well and just have a person come out and just talk to people, have a table set up, or even a formal presentation if that's what you'd like. And we can just kind of describe the process. I can say we've heard that before, that people are concerned about the process. It's very easy. We do have an in-person assessment where we pick the person up
Right.
and we bring them to Metro, and we just have them talk to our assessment person, and we just go through basically the reasons a person might not be able to ride our regular fixed route buses. And then we do some simple observations and talk to them a little about the service, talk to them about paratransit, talk to them about fixed route, and then I don't want to say it's every case, but it's not a rigorous process where we turn a lot of people away. So it's just a matter of just getting acquainted and bringing people in to discuss it, and then we certify them and show them how to do it. So, and just by that I mean in the meeting, tell them how paratransit ride booking and all of those things work. So that is a pretty easy thing for us to. We already do that type of presentation, so we'd be able to send staff out and we can create materials. And like I said, we did all this for Sun Prairie, so a lot of the stuff is ready to go already. So we'd be glad to just get that ready for Monona as well.
Right.
And when can somebody apply for that? So if the senior wanted to do it, they start applying in November, or October, or they have to wait till January, February, or early March?
I can find out. We could start applying probably. I'd say maybe just after the holidays. I would say we say our terminology is up to 30 days to process a application, but it never takes 30 days. So, or even close to that, but that's just what we say. So I would say if they just start applying at the beginning of the year, that would be plenty of time to start riding.
Well, that, what's the sense, will that affect snowbirds? People who don't live here in the winter, if we have all the outreach in the winter? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't think so, in that certainly they could, if they anticipate applying when they get back, or I suppose if they were leaving. If there were snowbirds and we got the word out to the senior center and we were able to get the word out that if there was anybody that was gonna be gone for the winter, they might want to reach out ahead of time.
Could we tape that meeting? That we can,
Sure.
Diana did send it to certain people.
Right. Right, if we not only had meetings, but we also taped the meeting, yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm just extra mindful of this transition because senior service will be ending.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And we'll have a day that ends, and then the next day, people will need to be able, eligible, and ready to ride on and have their ride scheduled potentially for that first day of paratransit.
I think to that end, even if Madison Metro doesn't roll out promotional activities until the new year, it would be helpful if we just have some brief statements about the rollout on the current public transit page of the city website, because even just like, I think even now, people would like to know, like as soon as the contract is finalized, it would be helpful to just say, the city anticipates a transition to Madison Metro. More information about routes and how to apply for paratransit will be made available on this website and in other venues throughout the community. Like, even if it's just brief, just knowing, okay, like I'm going to be going to Florida in December, but I can make a mental plan. I feel like that's probably the earliest thing we need to do.
I agree. And in fact, going back, Mick, to the channels that I talked about, you may or may not know that Monona has a phenomenal radio station. Award-winning. 4 out of the last 8 years, it's won Station of the Year for the big market, which includes Milwaukee and big markets. So we have a fantastic radio station. We have a monthly city e-news. Is subscribed to by a lot of people. And the mayor has a weekly bit on the radio station, and so we have a lot of different channels.
Really amping the Facebook.
Yeah, and a lot of social media, obviously. So I'm thinking, to me, you guys correct me as you always will, if I'm wrong. I'm thinking that it probably would make sense, two things. One is it would make sense to have some sort of a plan from you guys. I mean, you know better than we do what works, right? And so we could sit here and, you know, make all kinds of recommendations, but it would be helpful if there was some sort of a calendar and plan for what you would roll from your marketing team in terms of what you would see rolling out when. And maybe, and have a discussion with whoever puts together that plan. You know, get that plan to us and then, you know, and because then I think we would have a better idea of where we could be helpful in plugging in.
Sure.
Because I just think that you guys, like I said, you know your business better than we do and what works for getting up to speed.
Yeah, and I mean, to go along with that, we would ask, well, to go back to the webpage, that's a great idea that actually we could put together that here, and that way we can always keep updating and putting more information as we have it. We could send you that link, and then you could post that on your page if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We would love to have any sort of Monona photos that you could send us that might be helpful. And once we get service out there, we'll come out and with a photographer and take pictures. And if you could help us stage pictures, that'd be even better. Just so we can have people at bus stops in Monona or at important locations that you're thinking of, that would be ideal for us. We can put that calendar and a rollout plan together. That's no problem. As far as I was thinking of when we are trying to reach out to the people at the senior center, we could make a postcard that we could either send through there's a post office direct mail plan that we could make sure we hit the senior center, or maybe they would just distribute it there for us and we could just keep distributing postcards saying, here's information on paratransit. We can make some sort of standing display that maybe they could put up at the senior center that just talks about Metro Paratransit with our information on it. There's just a lot of things that we can do to get the senior center. But yeah, we can put.
Oops, sorry, I was just gonna say, I remember Laura saying something when you did Sun Prairie also, like that you had somebody at farmer's market.
Oh, yeah.
On Madison Metro table. I got
Yep.
them up.
Yeah, Shanae was out there. We've got people
Yes.
that'll come out that'll do that. So yes, if you
Really
have
good people.
events,
Really good.
we'd love to come out.
And then the two big community events we might think about would be Fall Festival, which is a little bit early. But and unfortunately we missed it for this year, but next year's Memorial Day Parade, I hope we can get a big, you know, bus going down the Memorial Day Parade, celebrating the bus. Yeah, we missed
Yeah.
it this year. It was so sad.
Yeah, that's a good idea. There were some free bus passes too for high school kids.
Yeah, that was a thing from our Madison mayor. They gave free passes to everyone in the MMSD school district. So it was
Oh,
it was
yeah.
financed through Madison.
Yeah,
Oh, the city, okay.
Yeah, I wanted
Yeah.
to bring up that idea too, because as I understand, when we'll roll out in March, the buses will be using the smart card system completely.
Yes.
And that it seems that the barrier to somebody choosing to get on the bus the first time is going to be having one of those cards. And is there a possibility to send cards out, even maybe with a free ride already preloaded on them? Have them available, raffle them off, ask if people want them. Like, cause that's a tough barrier to overcome,
Yep.
because we don't have sales outlets in Monona yet, which I think sales outlets in Monona is like my next topic. And getting those cards into people's hands. I mean, I know myself right now, if I wanted to go take the bus, I don't have a card. I've got one of the old cards. I don't know what to do. Right? So, is that a possibility? Because I know we do have a little bit of a transit marketing budget, last I heard.
Yes.
Is there some way of helping people to overcome that initial first ride barrier? They're aware of it. They're seeing the route information everywhere. They're excited about it. But if you're gonna walk out your door and go get on the bus, you gotta have that card now. So I don't know, what could we do?
Well, by the time we launch, we do have a cool thing when we launch right now, we have smart cards, but by the time we launch in March, and this isn't going to work for everybody, but you will be able to board, we expect, be able to board with a credit card directly without a smart card in March. That's something we're going to launch our new fare technology this summer sometime, and then in 6 months, we're going to roll out that feature, which is the tap credit cards directly on the bus. There is a thing, we're also not going to launch it right away, but we also have an app that if they download the app, you can actually send, like, we could set you up as a basically we're calling them partners, and you get your own portal, and then you could, if someone called you up and gave you an email and signed up, you could send them a pass through the mail that they would take a QR code, and then they would just board the bus with that QR code that you send them through your portal, and then you would just be charged with however we made that arrangement. So that's something pretty fun with the technology we're setting up.
For high school
Other-
kids.
So Nick,
Well, for
just,
anybody, yeah.
Mhm.
so Mick, I think I'm hearing you say that the questions about smart cards are not, there's nothing we need to do relating to smart cards, because by the time the system rolls out in March, the smart card's going away. People are just gonna get on the bus. and
No.
they're going away.
No, they're not going away. We just have other options that'll take away
So
the
even
barriers they're
additional.
talking about.
So tap a credit card when you get on.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing you say that people can purchase a pass, and send it to, that's really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Looks like you can also order.
Or you could, like if I set you up as a partner, we could just give you the cards have no value to start out with. They don't have value until they're added into the
Got it.
system.
Got it.
So you could have 20 cards wherever you are, and then you could set up somebody an account, and then you could give them the card and gift them how many rides you wanted to give them.
Right.
So
What would be the benefit of going through all the work to set up those cards? If people could just tap their credit card and never ever have a card, never ever have it, they could, I
No,
mean,
teenager.
moving forward.
A kid.
True, yeah.
And I
That's true.
assume the credit card is a one ride pass.
Yeah.
And the best value is buying a monthly pass.
Oh, I see.
And then when
Actually-
you have a card,
Oh,
Tracy,
there's a new
Oh,
thing. There's another, I just thought of something else that we'll have to promote to everybody. We're doing this new thing called fare capping. So basically, if you get your account, you put
Sweet.
$20 on your account, for example. You tap your card or tap your credit card. It'll work with your credit card as long as you keep using the same card. If you tap it, the first ride is $2, and then the next ride is $2. But we have a daily pass that's $5. So your third ride, it'll cap you at $5 for the day, and every ride you ride after that is free.
That's
We
amazing.
also have a week. Yeah, so then we have a weekly cap,
Excited.
which, yeah, it's pretty fun.
Is
And then
it-
I think the weekly cap's around $17. So then once you hit $17 for the week, it's free. And then we have a monthly cap of $65, which is our monthly pass. And then so if you hit up $65, then you're free the rest of the month.
So daily is
Pretty cheap
5,
transportation.
weekly is 17, and monthly.
Roughly, yeah. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's roughly that.
but
We
roughly
need to
30 a
promote
month.
that
That was
info.
on your website.
Yes, it's pretty cool.
was very
So-
cool.
Oh, so it's no more, so go to work 8 hours, come home, that's now
That's 2 rides, that's $4.
That's $4.
oh, that's still $4, okay. But if you have a transfer, well, you used to get
But
free
there's a
transfer.
daily cap of $5, so.
But now if you gotta stop the grocery on the way home, $5, lovely.
Mhm.
Well,
Is
actually,
that what it is?
if you stop for groceries on the way home, we have our transfers, which is $2, or excuse me, 2 hours. So if you tap your card every time you ride. So if you stop at the grocery store and you get back on the bus within 2 hours, it's free. You'll just tap it and it won't charge you until after the 2 hour window.
Mhm.
Smart,
Hmm.
smart.
We got a lot of fun things going on right now. So we're excited to roll this
Can
out.
we
It's a
pretend
lot
we knew that
easier
when we?
to.
I think
Yeah,
we should. I think we
Contract.
There's just so much information that can be turned into PSAs and
That's-
VMO, like, did you know, I mean,
perfect.
just
What?
so much
So
content.
if an
Yeah.
employer is providing transportation, then they just load the card for their employees.
Well, yeah, there's another, yeah, I could talk to you all day long. So, so we have a special employer program too. We have about 100 businesses, small businesses that are signed up right now, and we're going to reach out to them. But yes, we could set up each individual business as a partner, an individual partner. They can set up their employees in there. They can put money in the accounts, and then the people could get fair capping along the way based on the amount of money that the employer put in the account. And then if somebody leaves, people ask this question all the time. Well, what if that person leaves? You can move the money around the account. Let's say John Smith leaves, you can take his money out of that person's account and put it into somebody else's account. So you're not going to lose your money. And you would just be able to administer, a business could put a credit card on file. They would administer it all themselves. They wouldn't even have to really deal with us at all, other than for support.
Great.
And rumor has it one of those partners might be the Madison Community Foundation, providing this as a service to many nonprofit employees across the city.
Have you
Are you
heard
asking me?
Looks like UW have them, bigger employers do have stuff like that, the state and
Some
UW.
hospitals,
Who? The UW employees?
Yeah, like the state, they had those big plans too, like the state or UW or.
Yeah, the UW employees have a program. They've been with us a number of years, a lot of years, I should say. UW ASM has a big program with us. The hospital, St. Mary's and Meriter, they both have a past program with us. And Epic, and those are the big ones that I'm thinking of. Edgewood College, Madison College, those are
Yeah.
the big ones. But
Yeah.
any business can sign up for this. Those are the big ones with big contracts, but any business could sign up and get on a smaller contract with us. We make it really easy, and then we would sign them up for this portal, this partner portal, and then they could manage it all themselves. So we're still kind of working how we would do that, but it's very easy to do, and we just have to roll that information out.
I wonder how many people in Monona work for any one of those big employers. I mean, this is huge. That's
Right. So, one of the things that occurs to me is to go back to the MSD for a minute.
with all the kids getting. School district, you mean?
Yeah,
And
he was just talking about the fact that you were just talking about the free passes for
Yeah.
the school kids came from the school district, correct?
Yeah.
They paid for it.
Mayor.
Yeah, it was a partnership between the school district. They have a set amount of money that they gave us, and then the city provided the rest. The city of Madison provided the rest.
Right. So I'm just thinking out loud, even though I know we're recording, I'm thinking out loud that, one of the challenges that we have here is that, our school system is Cottage Grove as well as Monona, and we have a ton of kids that are driving to school. And so it may be that the city could reach out to the school district and see if there's some. I think it would be great to be able to do something similar like that, to introduce our, not just the high school, but conceivably the middle school as well, to
There's a lot of
by
density.
virtue of having some free passes, because it could make a big difference. I mean, the school district's under a lot of pressure because of the amount of cars that are, because they don't have a big enough parking lot for all the kids that are driving. So all those cars end up on streets in Monona, and,
You see the metro buses at La Follette. and
The kids can
school
look at their
next-
phones the whole way in. They don't have to pay attention to the road.
There you go.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Yeah, so so it might be, it definitely, I think would be worth looking into doing some sort of a partnership there.
It's a great idea.
And we could go to, it seems to me, one of the other things that we could do and work in tandem with, you may be familiar with the Madison Eastside Business Association, MISBA. And, and I think, going and making, a pitch there for businesses to no, again, to let them know what's coming and what the advantage is gonna be for their current employees and also in terms of attracting
Right.
employees that they can't currently. I mean, one of the things that we learned in our research and before we made this switch was there were definitely employers that were saying, you know, I have people that I wanted to hire, but that it can't get here. And so I can't hire them. And now they'll be able to do that. So I think Medco would be another good target to get the word out to our businesses and get the word out to the
One good
employers, big employers.
one good piece of news is I'm looking at the sales outlets on the Metro website and Pick and Save a la Metro Market on Monona Drive is currently a Metro sales
Oh, good.
outlet.
I do have an update on that. When we switch to this new system, we have an entire new system of electronic sales outlets, and we did put out a call out to all of our current outlets, and we only had a few people that got back to us, and I don't think Kelly's Market was one of them, but it's all Quick Trips are on it right now. Walgreens.
Okay, well, we got 3 of those, how easy.
Yeah, so that they would handle all that, but I mean, we're gonna try to get some of our legacy, we're calling them legacy sales outlets because they don't seem to want to switch over. But we're gonna have to do a hard switch from our current set over to our new electronic set, which is at Quick Trip. Basically, these businesses that have like gift cards that you see at the kiosk when you go in. So like Quick Trip's got all those gift cards, and like I said, Walgreens, Dollar Store, off the top of my head, there's about 100. So it's about 40 more than we have right now. But the thing that you won't have to really go to the sales outlet as much as you just got to get that card. And then a lot of people will be able to just go to the web portal and you just put money into your account on the web portal. You won't have to go to an outlet as much anymore. And then we actually, another feature besides the credit cards that we're rolling out in 6 months is this auto load feature, which basically you put a credit card on file, and then if your account gets low, it'll just zap in whatever amount, like an extra $20 into your account when you get low. So then it's going to save a lot of trips to go to a sales outlet to pick up a new card.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same technology that you use for iPass or Easy Pass or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
You know,
it's
it's
quite clear.
Great.
So, and then we're going to start, and we can like give you if you wanted to have a distribution point in Monona, we could give you just cards that you could hand out to people there. And like I said, they're not going to be any value until they're loaded with an account. So you could just hang on to them. You wouldn't have to worry about them disappearing because there's no money on them until someone sets up an account. And then you could hand those out to people, and then they set up their own account, or they could go to our sales outlet and do it themselves.
Could
there
could the school offices be a place where the kids could purchase and load up their cards right at school?
They could. I would just say our experience at the MMSD is that the school offices are pretty busy and they
Yeah,
struggle
they are.
with that kind of stuff. But if they were willing, we'd be willing to show them how to do it. Yes.
Okay.
I do senior center, seniors dining, so.
Yeah. Yes, we could definitely do that.
So realistically, I know you guys have your hands full, Nick, but realistically, how soon could we get the kind of plan that I was talking about from your marketing folks for us to be able to then the schedule, like what you would recommend in terms of a rollout and what avenues, and then we can then start working together then, once we have the first draft, if you will, from you guys.
Yep.
How soon do you think you could get something like that to us?
We're in the process of rolling out with Bus Rapid Transit. We've been really swamped doing that. And with some of these materials and these programs I'm telling you about, we have them set together in our heads, but we have not put them on paper for anybody yet. But we could put together a general plan and have that to you this summer. And then we could start, as we get the materials ready for everybody, we could give that to you ahead of time. But like just a general rollout plan, I could get to you maybe in a month or so. Would that be
great.
okay? And then we could start with
detailed, but we can then.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then in the meantime, maybe we have the conversation with the school district or Neil and the school district and see if that's, because that seems like something we'd want to work on this summer, maybe even and try to. Because again, we're in budget season, so anything we need to budget, including if we were to team up with the schools, or partner with the schools. We need to know by the end of the summer, which is, you know,
When I moved here a couple of years ago, Mick, I took a class with the League of Women Voters called How to Ride the Bus.
Oh, wow.
It was just great, and they also gave us free passes.
And they
That
probably,
organization, they just get cooler all the time, those things.
do you know, Mick, if there's a bunch, I mean, does the league still do that, or do you know if there are other entities that, How to Ride the Bus that do that? Do you guys do that?
we have, well, we're glad that we have 2 outreach people that go around and provide training. I don't know if you've heard the name Shanae and Uriel, but they are out and about. Oh, I can't wait to tell them that people know they're in Monona as well. But they're really good, and they just go out. You just let us know, or if you have her contact info, you can send it to me. We can set up time to send people out to talk about it. I'm sorry, what was your question? I got sidetracked by you nodding that you knew Shanae. That was really fun for me.
And she gave
What was
me
the
a
question?
Yeah, well, Laura was saying that she did a class, How to
Oh.
Ride the Bus through the League of
Right.
Women Voters.
Well, it was
and-
for the league.
For the-
Right, I'm
for the-
sorry, yeah.
The league didn't sponsor it.
Okay.
Madison Metro did.
Oh,
Oh,
Madison.
oh,
Metro
yeah.
sponsored.
That was
Oh,
probably
okay.
Shanae. That was probably Shanae that did
I
that.
think it was.
Oh, got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so you just set us up, and we would send Shanae out to tell people how to ride the bus. That's what she does.
That's right.
So if Monona had it one day, we'd have everybody in. and they-
Oh, gosh, they just get flooded.
I could definitely
One day
do it.
event or something like that.
And have a webinar, there we'll have it.
We stopped and had coffee at the Carver Feed.
Yeah, so obviously I want to go back to something that you said about photographs and all of that. So, because we
Mhm.
could definitely be working while you guys are sort of putting together the plan, we could conceivably get some folks working on taking some shots. Like over at the Park and Ride. Right? And down at the city center where we know we're gonna have a stop, you know, right? Maybe some things on Monona Drive on.
By school too.
Yeah.
School.
Stop now.
You want pictures of people at bus stops?
Yeah, well, actually, that's something we're trying to do. Is we're trying to make it show our service about all the people that it affects. So yeah, the more people that you can get to agree into our photos, we're trying to focus more on people than vehicles. So yeah, people at bus stops would be great. Once we roll out, people riding the bus would be awesome. If you took those pictures of people getting on, we would use them. Otherwise, we could send our photographer out to take pictures as well. But yeah, we definitely want to focus on people that are using the bus.
So I don't know that this would be everybody's cup of tea, but I know that one of the things that was suggested by our radio station.
You're gonna read my mind right now.
Was, well, first of all, they definitely do remotes all the time. So that's definitely something that they could do, but beyond that, back in the heyday of Mayor Bernie Sanders in Vermont, when they were rolling out a bus system in Burlington, Vermont, he actually had people playing music on the
Mhm.
buses.
I
as a-
am in.
Yep.
I
Sign me up.
I vote.
Just for like the inaugural, like,
Right.
for the first week, like, you could totally do that, or you could have Lindsay doing like. Guy on the bus interviews, or people on the
Yeah.
bus interviews,
Yeah.
excuse me, ma'am, are you just?
Yeah, but seriously, the whole idea was to make it fun, right?
Yeah,
'Cause,
totally.
And help people realize that it's not this big ominous thing, but it's a
Live
good thing and it's a fun thing. I mean, I spent 25 years in Chicago and there are routes on the
Yep.
metro in Chicago where Friday afternoon is happy hour, because
Mm-hmm.
everybody that's on the train is the same people. They
It
get on
is
it.
so fun.
You know, so, not that I'm suggesting that you should have happy hour on your buses. but-
Right.
Oh, why not? Come on.
I
Why not?
Monona getting up to Old Brick
Yes.
Beer Garden and back on the bus, brilliant. I mean, it's bypassing potentially San Damiano Beer Garden, but we can make a whole
Yeah.
crawl of it.
Yeah, we could, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so if we, just in terms of taking these kind of photos and stuff, do you have a photographer?
We do have a photographer. She's our graphic artist photographer. So we'd have to schedule some time to get her over to wherever you'd like. But phone pictures work as well.
But-
If you had
phone
someone
pictures.
taking them too.
And so if we pick the day, we could get a bus. If we did it on our own, how would that work?
If we pick a shoot date, we would have to, we would send our photographer too, and you'd be more than welcome to bring whoever you'd like as well. But we'd probably want to wait till after we launch BRT before we would start to do something like that. But yes,
Yeah.
we would be able to do schedule something.
Okay.
And I would think we'd want to do it once you have the signs. I know we have signs on the G and L, but the signs installed on the new routes too.
Yeah,
Nick, I'm just wondering, like, based on your experience, based on a community this size, the route, all the things that you know about this going forward, what will we probably, what's gonna happen? What should we expect? Is in terms of like number of riders, is it typical that ridership is really strong in the beginning and then tapers off, or does it just steadily grow and grow and grow the more that people understand it, or what do you think?
I would say in general, it's going to steadily grow and grow.
Yeah.
But that being said, we are doing all these just really cool things. I've worked here a long time and we haven't done this kind of cool stuff since I started working here. And we're doing it all at the same time. We're having new tracking software. We've got this new fare technology. We've got these new buses that won't be necessarily on the Monona route, but it'll be on BRT. So we're going to have all these buzzwords, all these new ways. It's going to be a lot easier to ride the bus. So it might be, and if the community is really into it, you might get a surge right away.
Yeah.
But it's hard to, based on the old way of how everything's going before we had all this stuff, I would say it would start in a certain way and go and just kind of steadily increase. Sun Prairie started decent and it just kind of steadily has been moving along. So it wasn't like a big stampede of people to start out with, but things are kind of different right now. So I think it'll be, I can't begin to guess. I just know that we've got all these things going on. We've got all these people calling us. We've been talking about BRT, and our biggest question right now is when's it going to start? When's it going to start?
Yeah.
And then same thing with the fare technology. When can we get our new cards? So we've just got a lot of buzz and a lot of good things happening right now. So being in South can be so much easier to get on just with your credit card.
Yeah.
It could be a lot bigger than what we've seen in the past.
yeah.
I think we have to have realistic expectations, though.
Yeah.
Having read all the survey comments and all of that,
Yeah,
takes a couple of years even to.
I agree.
You have a reporter on the bus and there's no one there, it's gonna be a big letdown.
Yeah.
Just all the things that
Get
we've
some
heard
done.
tonight, right? I mean, like, with every amazing new thing that I'm hearing, I can't, the little voice in my head is like, and why is this a bad idea? Like, why, so I just think that the more people know, the more that their fears are gonna go away, the more they're gonna like it. It's just a matter of constantly pushing out all this information. Yeah, it's great.
And I think we have, as I'm kind of thinking about, our ridership reports right now, what we get. Thinking ahead, we kind of have these kind of sentinel bus stops that are at the edge of Monona. Like I'm thinking about Walgreens at Flom, there's 2 bus stops just east of there, which are kind of the place where if you're gonna walk out of Monona and catch Metro, it's usually right there.
Right.
Similarly on Broadway, just west of Bridge Road. And so I'm thinking, is it, I know, Mick, you guys were saying that part of the new technology and the fare technology is better granularity as to when people get on and off the bus. And I think, it'll be really, really interesting for me to see what changes at those stops as people who were walking a ways to get on the bus can now get on at their houses.
So we'll be able
That's
to
a good
get
point.
that degree
Yeah.
of ridership information. Yeah.
I hope so.
So
I mean,
Yeah,
would think.
the reports we're giving you now are from technology that's 20, 25 years old, and we are updating all that technology. So your reports are gonna be way better. You're gonna be able to get reports. We have automatic passenger counters on all the buses. That's being installed right now. And then you'll also be able to get a report on like the fare card taps on the readers. So you'll be able to see that too. So it's just a lot of better tracking, just a lot of, yeah, like I said, we're updating everything. So the reports you're seeing now are not gonna be what you're gonna see in 6 months.
We can see if the bus stop's working or not. Is
Yeah.
that what you mean, like a tab,
Yeah.
is that bus stop is 0, or that was.
Yeah.
popular one?
Yep, and then we can verify it too with the passenger counters that we have on the bus as well.
So the other piece, it seems to me, besides marketing, I mean, we're looking forward to working with you, obviously, in marketing, and we'll work with community media as well, because we have another committee, that can help us, I think, with, but the other piece, obviously, and this very much relates to budget, is nailing down those, what did you call them? Layover points?
Layover points, yeah.
Yeah, nailing down those layover points and, taking all the stops that we identified from the 8.5 by 11 sheet. Because we're gonna have to build in, and it's not gonna be us, it'll be us, but I'm sure it will most definitely involve Public Works.
Yeah, they're working on it actually right now.
They are?
Working on his capital budget with that. We get to like where we need the stops, which is these pads, which is grandfathered in, so he's
He's already on it?
working.
Okay. Great. See, our Public Works is always on top of it.
Can you define layover point?
A layover point is where when the bus is driving and they're ahead of schedule,
Oh, so they.
they need to pull over. Yeah, and in some cases, it's union
Or-
rules. The guys have to
Yeah,
stop.
They get their break,
Right.
lunch.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the layover points is where they have breaks, kind of like that, typically at the end of the line, and then they can stop and they wait until they go start the
Got
next
it.
run back. You might be talking about time points as well, which is
I
where.
was talking about time points, sorry.
Yes, okay. Time
See,
points
that's
are,
a- Yeah,
yeah, there are like in our current schedules right now, there might be 6 or 8 time points along a segment of the route. And that's where the drivers have to hit there at that specific time. That's where they're required to be there. And then that way it kind of evens them out. So if they are running ahead, a little behind, they have to be at that spot at that particular time along the route.
And if they get there ahead of schedule, do they wait a moment or
Then they
two?
wait.
Okay,
Yeah,
Got it.
correct.
yeah, so we were working through with Sean,
Yeah.
previously, we were working through the time points, not the layover.
Okay, not the layover points. Okay.
We were working through the time points because some of our roads are fairly narrow, and we were saying, like, for instance, we know that a time point is gonna be, and a layover point will be the park and ride.
Mhm.
But there were several other spots that we had identified that we thought would be beneficial as time points and potentially layover points too.
Mhm.
So we were working with Sean on that. So yeah,
Okay.
as long as Public Works is on that,
Well, they're on the bus stops. so
Right.
Not the time points.
And the bus stops are gonna have just pads for now.
Not all of
Not
them.
necessarily, okay, but
No,
not
that's
necessarily the
shelters.
shelters. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not required for their standards.
Yes.
but Mark, I wanna make sure that Public Works is looking at time points from the standpoint of, like, for instance, with the
I'll double
redo
check.
Nichols.
Yeah.
Cause I know we wanted, for instance, we wanted at the city center to be able to
Yeah.
have the bus pull, and we can't have them in the middle of the road. So,
Right, that one's gonna be.
right, so they were gonna,
Nichols Rose where you do that.
right, so we were gonna do one there, and they were gonna have to, when they redo Nichols, make sure there's a pullover. Okay.
Hmm.
Anything else for Mick at this point? So you think we can get a plan by next month, or
Yep.
just to outline, calendar,
Sure.
plan, your best thinking?
Yep.
Or whoever you pass it off to, your best thinking in terms of a marketing plan, and then, and a calendar, and then we can do, in the meantime, Mark can reach out, or you and I can reach out, Teresa, to meal and talk a little bit about whether or not we want to approach the schools. Anything else that you guys feel like we need from Metro at this point?
Is there somebody that we can communicate with that our staff can talk with your group to just kind of bounce ideas off of? Or would you just like us to start and give you the plan and then we can make that the next step?
I think it makes sense, because we're a fairly small group and this is like the best committee in the whole city, so, we wouldn't be sitting with you if this wasn't such a great committee, honestly. We
Okay.
were at this, as you know, we were at this a long time.
Okay.
So, I mean, but, so if, you know, if you sketched out, or if whoever sketches out something and they wanna come to next month's meeting
Sure.
and bounce off what they, you know, we could, and as long as we get that a little bit in advance of the meeting, so that people have a chance to look at the calendar and what's been sent before we get together and talk about it further. Does that sound like a plan, you guys?
Yeah, and I can email our email addresses to you guys too, so you'll have that.
Is it?
Yep.
Is it?
We can do that. I can bring some more of our marketing team along to the next meeting too, to just
Yeah.
chat. Probably Shanae.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, all right. I have one more thing before we go. We also have this half-price fare that is part of the fare capping piece, and basically someone could register with us as either a senior, or it could be low income or youth, and then you would be, so right now our fare is $2, and that's how your fare capping works. If you register with us as those items, then your fare cap would be $1 for a fare, and then all the fare caps would be half price compared to the regular adult fare. So that's something we're going to be rolling out too. And that would
Right.
only be on the fixed route. It wouldn't be on paratransit. Paratransit is our standard fare, but this would be on the fixed route. So we would be rolling out that program too, and people can just register with us. It probably lasts for probably a year or two. We haven't really figured out all those rules, but just register with us, and then your account is set up so that you only charge $1 every ride instead of $2.
And sorry,
So-
what were the eligible groups again?
Sure, it's youth, seniors, those with disabilities, and low income. And low
Young
income, the
mothers,
threshold-
young mothers, Joey, it's.
Assume it's a
Yeah.
wage or income requirement, is that what you mean by that?
Yeah, and what we do with that is it's 150% of the national poverty level. And we ask people to basically self-certify with us, so it's not a real strict process either, but it's something we ask them to say, we either ask them to show us a Quest card or just sign this form that says, yes, I'm at this income level. We don't give anybody a hard time about it.
And how old is a senior?
62.
62?
Yeah.
Make sure the senior center knows that.
Thanks for making.
All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time tonight. I know you're a busy guy.
Oh, no, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
And we'll look forward to seeing you and Shanae
And Shanae, yeah.
next month,
All right.
okay?
And
Sounds
good
good.
work with rolling out BRT. We're eager to see what
Yeah,
happens.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, thank you.
Bye.
Why anyone would be opposed to this is beyond me.
They just.
I mean, well, whatever, I've got my ideas, but anyway.
Are you
I'll just-
sure you want them coming here and going in our pool? I'm not kidding.
Those people.
Well,
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's,
I know.
Not go there.
Yep.
Let's not go there.
on the days.
Let's time out. We are, we're still in a meeting
Yes, that's.
and we're still recording.
That's right.
All right, so. Any questions about what we just heard at this point? We really need to, I think they need to come up with. A calendar,
Yep.
right? And more of an outline before we can,
Yeah, I'm sure they'll have it next meeting.
okay. And,
I didn't realize that they've never, we were told when we signed our contract, it never had to go through a commission, so that's the first time it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Gotta go through another committee.
But, and they, I guess he said they didn't have to go through the city council, he never said, so I guess we assumed, we was talking to me, Bill and the mayor. That meant that he could just sign off, I didn't have to, so unless,
Oh,
so that makes more sense, but they never said anything to us about that.
does that also mean that someone affiliated with our group is going to need to be a liaison to that committee?
No, they're just, that's just to approve it, and so they have their own commission like us and.
Well, yeah, well, and once
Well, I mean, somebody
approved,
sit on their commission.
yeah, what's the relationship? Are we gonna be, I don't know.
I don't know, I doubt it, because we're like a third party tomorrow, so.
I don't think their commission is made up of other municipalities.
No.
I think it's just all mass. I'm going to find
Well,
out.
maybe we should talk to Sun Prairie and say, you know, we wanna.
Well, we are talking about, potentially working more closely with other municipalities that have them for other reasons, but, if there's not anything as it relates to as it relates to Metro, 6B is any committee contributions or suggestions related to DUI? You wanna talk about the report being done?
Yeah, so that was one of my committees, which, so we all know that the city has this DEIB report that was put out a couple years ago. And then after that, shortly after that, the mayor appointed a group to come up with an implementation plan and what that entailed was, bringing back Nehemiah, some representatives from Nehemiah. I don't know, had about 8 to 10 people, and we just looked at that report and sort of picked out some priority areas. Researched a little bit about what it would entail to implement that, met with some city leaders, and came up with a second document that just sort of hits the highlights, or at least what we believe to be the highlights of the first report, or a combination of some low-hanging fruit that can be done immediately with some of the bigger things that people were particularly interested in seeing happen. So that document's now been completed by this implementation committee, and I'm just waiting, it's been handed off to Neil, and he's been showing it around to, or staff are looking at it. And then Neil and the mayor and I will be meeting just to sort of answer some final questions that I think I can answer. There are just some areas where I anticipate there will be gray, some, it's a squishy thing, a lot of, it's not just like building a building, it's bringing people together,
That's squishy.
Yeah.
I wonder if we should.
And in the end,
There could be,
I wonder, well, certainly with the photos,
Crust,
but I'm
yeah.
wondering about Spanish.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We should ask for some materials, definitely in
Oh, I think
Spanish.
Metro has.
And I'm sure they have them,
bilingual.
I'm positive, they must, they have to,
Yeah.
Even- perhaps even more than Spanish, but yeah, we definitely.
Yeah,
wanna
I'm
do
sure
that.
they do too, and
Yeah,
and I think there are some, the library's been great, but I think there's also some moves going on in other departments to have Spanish available for other applications and other things in town.
Mhm.
That's one of the goals that was in the DA.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Right, another. Yeah, that is one of the things they're working on.
Yeah.
There's issues you gotta iron out, so.
Yeah, have you taken a look at it yet?
I've looked at it.
Yeah, I think it starts off with just sort of like I think the further the report goes, the more and more.
Yeah.
I keep using the word squishy, it was Neil's word, but just there's a phrase anyway, but yeah, that's fine.
That's great. So we talked about it a little bit, I think, before we started, but of course, the Harry Whitehorse International Wood Sculpting Festival starts on Friday, and it's gonna be huge, and it is huge if you saw San Emiliano right now. We just put tents up, the regular tents up after having built all the indigenous structures and shelters, so and the shelters for all the artists. Anyway, we're expecting it's gonna be huge, and it's gonna be super fun. And a huge boost around, celebrating Harry Whitehorse. And, at last count, 11 of his family members are gonna be here. Which is a lot. I mean, he had 6 kids, and there, a lot of them are flying in. And I think there'll be more than that actually at the end of the day. And we know a lot of elders are coming, from Ho-Chunk. I mean, we've had Ho-Chunk involved in the leadership of this event from the get-go, and the president of the Ho-Chunk Nation is gonna be here to open. An Indigenous Color Guard is gonna be presenting colors at the opening because Harry was a World War II veteran. So anyway, it's gonna be a super cool event and the first of its kind in the country. So I hope people stop by and I hope you enjoy it.
And if you go to the website along the top, there's a couple menus and one of them says volunteer. So if you're the type of person that, you know, while you're there, if you're the type of person you think to yourself, oh, I'm there, I might as well be doing something, so maybe you could check that out.
Teresa's co-chair of the volunteers.
Cheers.
You have to put your
Yeah.
t-shirts on.
Setting a
Yeah,
lot,
and the, you know, the volunteering is, you know, we're gonna put
Super
people,
easy.
it's super easy, we're gonna, you know, it's gonna be doing a variety of things. We have a green room that we're taking care of the artists, cause they're eating on site.
Yep.
And, you know, we have information booths and cleanup, setup, you name it. You know, so, some of them are short, some of them are longer, volunteers welcome. Okay?
Is there anything on the agenda about sustainability? No.
Uh,
May I say at the event, when you go there, you'll see that there will not be free-range recycling and trash bins scattered throughout. There will be 2 low waste stations. If you have something that you need to dispose of, you take a short walk, you go to a low waste station where a volunteer will guide you to one of 3 bins, a recycling bin, a compost bin, or a landfill bin, and you'll have all your answers, all your questions answered. We've got printouts from Pelletieri on everything they recycle with QR codes to load the app on your phone. We've got printouts from a composting company with everything you can compost, and all of the food vendors have been asked not to bring styrofoam into the event, so it just fits that this very special place of conservation and just honoring that land. It would just fit that we do this, so yeah, kind of cool.
Yeah,
Ooh, very cool.
whole thing will be. And there, of course, is a beer garden in the middle of it. Which will also be cool on Tuesday night. And Make Music Monona on the 21st. Where, in case you missed it, Jillian, although I don't think you did,
I'll be playing
is gonna be playing.
on the stage, 11 o'clock. I think we're kicking things off at the Make Music Monona stage. I'll be playing handpans with Beth Kaiser on cello.
And actually, as part of Make Music Monona, there's going to be several of the artists that are here, including Jean Delcourt, who's the founder of the festival, who plays fiddle. And several of the other artists that are flying in from other parts of the world are gonna be playing as well. They're signed up to play. So, anyway,
The opening ceremony at 5 o'clock Friday.
do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Jillian, thank you.
Bye, Julian.
Hopefully see you in person next time.